Good evening, and welcome to all of you here tonight for the 2025 Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. First things first, some of you here may be wondering, who the heck are we? Firstly, my name is Phineas Wright.
And I'm Tommy Berry. We are proud members of Prep's class of 2025. Just a few days ago, Just a few days ago, we joined many of you here this evening as proud Prep alumni of Fairfield Prep.
And tonight it is our honor to serve as your Masters of Ceremonies.
Who are we? Finn, we should probably tell them.
Yeah, so if any of you have ever tuned into any of Prep's sports broadcasts via live stream, YouTube, any of that, we may start to sound familiar to you as the night goes on as the personalities for Prep Athletics. And today, Prep now live streams football, soccer, basketball, hockey, baseball, and lacrosse games. So somehow that led us to this, and it is truly an honor to be here with you all this evening.
Over 83 years, Fairfield Prep has established itself as a powerhouse of athletic excellence, 58 state championships. It is built on undefeated state championship teams, thousands of phenomenal student athletes, hundreds of all-state players, and on the backs of our own bomb squad. There have been a remarkable few who went on to shine collegiately, professionally, or even in the Olympics. This tradition continues to strengthen year after year here at Prep.
And tonight we will etch 5 exceptional individuals and 1 legendary coach into Prep's storied athletic history. The late Hal Smith from the class of 1969. He was a star on the court for Prep hoops and out on the diamond.
From the class of 1989, lacrosse goalie, NCAA champ, and now coach at Dallas Jesuit, Mr. Chris Saran.
The late Frank Robati, class of 1957. True man for others.
And then golfer Frank Dolly from the class of 1985, who just yesterday played in the U.S. National Senior Open Qualifier in North Carolina. So,
coach and architect of Prep Rugby, Frank Decker.
And Prep's first Olympic athlete, Craig Kingsley from the class of 2007, who represented the United States in track and field, throwing the javelin. So, there it is. And to all alumni here tonight, whether you're here on campus regularly or haven't been here in some time, you will be proud to know that Prep is in a really good place.
And we also must extend a special thank you to the Athletic Hall of Fame selection committee members made up of alumni through the ages who worked on selecting this outstanding Hall of Fame class. Given Prep's proud athletic history, this is not an easy task.
And thank you as well to the whole team at Fairfield Prep that make events like this happen.
I would also like to share my thanks to all of you here this evening, student athletes, families, and any of you members of the Bomb Squad who have always supported Prep. Your selfless spirit encapsulated what it means to be men for others. Thank you. So now, to begin tonight's program, it is an honor for me to introduce to you Prep's president, Christian Cashman, to make a few remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 17th president of Fairfield Prep, Mr. Christian Cashman.
Great start. Killing it. Keep it up. Well, good evening to the Prep athletic community. Allow me to add my warm welcome and gratitude for this great evening. The Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you to Tommy and Phineas, the voices of Prep Media. Aren't they great? to our advancement team, to the committee, and all who pulled off this amazing night. At this time, I would like to ask our past Hall of Fame inductees here present to stand and be recognized. Please stand if you are a past inductee of our Hall of Fame and are here tonight. Please rise. Thank you for your legendary commitment to prep athletics and our brotherhood. I'd also like to offer my heartfelt congratulations to this evening's inductees. In memoriam for Hal, Chris, in memoriam for Frank, Coach Frank Decker, and Craig, I say well done, gentlemen, for your heroic achievements. I am thrilled to welcome you back to North Benson, and it's a privilege of a lifetime to serve as the 17th president of Prep. I'd like to assure you, as the boys did tonight, and not bury the lead, that Prep is strong. Our Jesuit education of your alma mater remains strong, in fact, maybe as strong as it's been since the founding in 1942. We're enjoying the strongest enrollment we've had in 10 years. Prep men continue to post amazing athletic, artistic, and academic results. Just a few highlights of the 2025 Athletics in Review, for example. We had 663 athletes in all seasons, representing 80% of our student body playing sports. Over 200 plus multi-sport athletes. Football ranking number 1 in Class L in regular season. Golf winning a state championship, the 4th for retiring coach Bob Bernier. Swimming SEC and Connecticut state champs. Skiing Connecticut state champs. Hockey SEC champs. Tennis undefeated season SEC champs and on their way to states. Our 4x100 indoor relay team were state champs and national qualifiers. We have over 40 college commits, and our lacrosse and rugby teams are playing SECs and states as we speak tonight. Let's hear it for our athletes at Fairfield Prep. But we form the whole person at Prep, so senior team captains at Prep have also been exemplary Kairos leaders, service immersion leaders, and been incredible role models for their underclassmen, friends, and brothers. A best-in-class Jesuit athletic program does not happen and grow and succeed by accident. It takes leadership. In that spirit, I want to thank in absentia Tom Curran, class of 05, who is at the games tonight, for his incredible over decade-plus heroic service to his alma mater, Prep. We wish Tom and his family great success. As you know, he's moving on from Prep to Rye Country Day after an incredible career, and we wish him all the best and Godspeed as he goes. We wish he was with us tonight. And it's my pleasure to announce tonight, which is also going out in social media and being announced to tomorrow morning, the successor of Tom Curran, who happens to be in the room tonight. I am thrilled to announce that the next Assistant Vice President of Athletics at Fairfield Prep will be Mr. Dave Houghton. After a nearly 30-year career in professional athletics, including the National Football League, and 3 amazing years as our Alumni Engagement Officer, Dave will build on a very strong Prep athletic foundation. He will do so with passion, professionalism, and as a proud dad of 2 Prep grads, he will lead with our signature Ignatian excellence. Congratulations, and God bless Dave and his family. Thank you, Dave. So some of you may have heard, and we're here in November, that we announced a sort of an audacious little thing going on, a campaign called Go Forth, the campaign for Fairfield Prep. And you perhaps drove by a 47,000 square foot hole in the building, in the ground over at Fairfield Prep. So I'm thrilled to share with you that since we last gathered here last year, and thanks to the incredible generosity of alumni in this room, parents, past parents, friends, and alumni, we have raised nearly $77 million toward a $90 million goal in Go Forth. So unbelievable generosity. And that is in large measure to Prep brothers in this room tonight, Frank Barron of the class of 69, Bill Barron, his brother of the class of 75, Mr. Tom Shea, class of 73, Tim Murphy, 85, and so many others in this room and in our Founders Club. Fairfield men are never done. Thank you for your generosity. So for 83 years, prep athletics has been the second classroom for thousands of scholar athletes, prep men who are tested in the crucible of competition and supported by the bonds of brotherhood and team. As a prep dad with 4 sons, 3 who have attended prep, who ran with the Fords and swam for Bruce and hit the gridiron with Mr. Hellstrom and Mr. Shea, I can assure you the transformative power of prep athletics and brotherhood for life is very real. Nowhere is the Jesuit mantra, men for others, more relevant than on the field of competition. Tonight, our inductees here join the unbroken chain of prep men who have given selflessly to a higher goal, to team, to brotherhood, and prep pride for 8 decades. It's a genuine honor to be with you this evening and to celebrate these men. And I'll close with this. We may laugh, we may cry, but we never say die. Let's go Fairfield. God bless.
As Mr. Cashman just said, as we applaud the success of prep athletes, 2 of our teams are participating in playoff games right now, even as we speak. But tonight, we want to pause and honor the prep men who played and coached before them. To all our inductees and your families, congratulations, and on behalf of everyone at Prep, we are privileged to enshrine you permanently into Prep's Athletic Hall of Fame.
So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Our first inductee tonight, the late Hal Smith from the class of 1969, former baseball coach Mr. Ed Rowe and Mr. Wally Hallis from the great class of 1969, and a teammate of Hal's will now present Hal. Please turn your attention to the screen as we honor Hal Smith.
Hal Smith, class of 1969. The late Hal Smith was a co-captain and formed a lethal 1-2 punch with All-American and Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Famer Jim Fitzsimmons on the Jesuits basketball championship team of 1969 under Hall of Fame coach Bob Sylvester. The 6'3", 185-pound Smith was an All-MBAC and All-State selection that season when he averaged 22 points a game, including a career-high 41 against Law of Milford. He also netted 29 points in Prep's win over Harding, which handed Prep its only loss earlier in the season. Smith was also a standout on the baseball diamond, manning third base for Athletic Hall of Fame coach Ed Rowe. He was also a co-captain for the Prep 9 his senior year when he hit .368 and was an All-MBAC selection. Following graduation, Smith played 53 games over 3 seasons as a reserve guard on the Harvard basketball team, as well as 4 seasons as a slugging outfielder and first baseman on the Crimson baseball squad, which played in the College World Series in both 1971 and 73. Smith led the team with a .353 average in 1973.
Hello, I'm Wally Hallis from the great class of 1969, and I am honored to partake in this ceremony to recognize one of the great 2-sport basketball and baseball athletes in history, Harold Francis Smith Jr. Hal was an incredibly gifted athlete and student, and we were blessed to have him. I was certainly blessed to be on both of his teams, and he was the captain, my captain, for all 4 years. Then he became my closest friend for the rest of his life.
From the very first practice, it was obvious that he was a special player. I had seen him play basketball, so I knew he was athletic. But on the baseball field, I was able to see the strength of his arm, the softness of his hands, and his smooth swing. As the season progressed, I was drawn to his competitiveness, his intelligence, and his passion for the game. Thus began our friendship.
Truly one of Hal's greatest qualities was his humility. And with all of those accomplishments in baseball, he never mentioned it ever, of all the things that he did, much less brag about it. But he did have one quality that he brought to basketball that was unique, that really made him special, and that was swag. Smitty had swag. We would go into any gym, whether it was in the city, New Haven, Hartford, wherever it happened to be. Smitty would size up the gym and the opponents. He would turn to all of us and he would say, "We got this, boys." And that confidence inspired all of us. And some of the players that we played against during that time were Super John Williamson, later played for the New York Nets, had Kevin Joyce, who played for the 1972 U.S. Olympic team, Brian Winters, who played for the Milwaukee Bucks and later became an NBA coach. And Smitty went head-to-head with all of them. Not only did he hold his own against all of them, but he was exceptional and excellent. And his team records, that 64-6 record over those 3 years happened nearly 60 years ago and still stands strong to this day. And as many of you know, Smitty continued his two-sport career at Harvard, playing both basketball and baseball for 4 years.
After his graduation, that relationship grew through shared meals and visits to our home, trips to Harvard, eventually his wedding, surprise drop-bys at my games, libations at the Angus, and the many phone calls, all of which ended with, "I love you too." We cherished his spirit, his smile, his sense of humor, his warmth with our children, his service to the prep, and his love for his family. Shakespeare said, "A man plays many roles in his life. As a son, brother, honor student, businessman, dedicated alumnus, husband, father, and athlete, Hal gets all tens."
So with that, I'm Wally Hallis, the great class of 1969, and I am honored to present my classmate, my teammate, my captain, and my forever friend Hal Smith for enshrinement into the Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hal Smith's wife, Susan, to the stage to accept this award on behalf of Hal Smith, class of 1969.
Congratulations. So glad to have you with us. Congrats. So glad you're all here. Congratulations. Thrilled to have you. So much
Moving on now to our next inductee tonight is Dallas Jesuit head lacrosse coach Chris Saran from the class of 1989. Mr. Christian Bannister, a former player on Chris Saran's lacrosse team at Dallas Jesuit and a goalie himself, will formally introduce Chris. So now let's check out the screen as we honor Chris Saran.
Chris Saran, class of 1989. One of the finest lacrosse players to play for Fairfield Prep, goalie Chris Saran was a co-captain his senior year and even found greater success at Syracuse after graduation. In 4 seasons with the Orange, Saran participated in 3 Final Fours and 2 national championship games, winning it all his final season in 1993. In that game, he made 20 saves in a 13-12 victory over the top-seeded North Carolina. He was named Final Four MVP that season and ended his collegiate career with 476 saves. Saran then became a successful head coach, spending 3 years at the Naval Academy Prep School in Rhode Island before moving on to Dallas Jesuit Prep in Texas. Saran will begin his 19th season at the helm and has an impressive career mark of 226-74 with 4 state championships, 3 runner-up finishes, and 15 appearances in the state playoffs. Saran owns a successful lacrosse business and is also an attorney in Plano, Texas.
I think Fairfield Prep meant everything to Coach Saran. I think that it started his journey of being a man for others, and I think that's something that really stayed with Coach Saran throughout his entire life. And the principles that a Jesuit curriculum teaches, I think, are just a part of Coach Saran's person, and it really guided him through life choices, almost like a mission to help others. There's so many characteristics and attributes. The number one thing is his dedication at all areas in his life, whether it be at Fairfield being such a phenomenal goalie where he was able to get recruited by a perennial power like Syracuse, to then going to Syracuse and not only being a part of this team, but also starting to be a Division I lacrosse goalie starting for a number one program in the country. It's such a small percentage of players who ever are able to accomplish that. Not only did Coach Duran accomplish that, but then he went on to being one of the very best goalies to ever even play the game. To have that type of pedigree and resume, his dedication drove him to becoming the best lacrosse coach that he could be. Because of that, he has changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of students, players, families. He's done so much for not just the Dallas area or the North Texas area, but really the state of Texas as a whole. Without Coach Duran's dedication to growing the game here, Texas wouldn't have the teams and programs that they do now, nor would they have sent the players to other schools to go play at the next level. That caring and selflessness that he has touched the lives of so many people. I had the opportunity to shoot on Coach Duran one summer when he was getting ready to go play with some of the Syracuse guys that he had graduated with up in Lake Placid, and he suited up, and it was one of the very first times that I saw him play, and I was astonished. I've never seen somebody faster, have better form. It was amazing. I mean, it was after he probably hadn't picked up a stick in years. He told me that, and he got in the cage and it looked like he had been practicing every day for the last 20 years. So when I say that he is one of the best to ever play it, I don't say that lightly, and I truly believe that, and I know so many others believe that as well. My name is Christian Carson Bannister, and it is my absolute honor to present my dear friend, Coach Christopher Duran, for enshrinement into the Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Duran, class of 1989.
You guys are really good.
Thank you.
Better than our objections class.
Hey, congratulations. It's great to have you back, man. It's such a pleasure. What an amazing job. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Well, if I get overly emotional, it's because I've been hit in the head with too many lacrosse balls. So I apologize in advance. I just wanted to thank President Cashman, Kathy Norrell, and all the volunteers who's made this such a special evening tonight. And all of you that are here, your commitment to make the student-athlete experience at Prep one of the best in the country is extremely important. So please continue to do that. This is a very special place. Just obviously congratulations to my fellow inductees. It's an incredible honor to be enshrined in the Fairfield Prep Athletics Hall of Fame alongside such accomplished individuals that you will learn more about here in a few minutes. As we all know, though, most personal achievements don't happen without the support and sacrifices of many others, and that's certainly true in my case. With me, first and foremost, I want to thank God and His Blessed Mother for the countless blessings in my life, beginning with the gift of attending Fairfield Prep. Before I came here, I didn't know what ad majorem Dei gloriam meant, but learning and living that Jesuit motto changed my life. Every success I've had on and off the field has been the result of God's grace. To my parents, thank you for making the sacrifices necessary to send me to Prep. This school will change my path forever. To my brothers and sisters, thank you for setting the bar high and for always encouraging me. A special thank you to my sister Becky, who's here tonight and has always been there for her little brother. To my wife Tiffany, thank you for being the rock of the family. I met you before my senior year at Syracuse, and you've supported me through every chapter as a player, coach, and a lawyer. To my sons, Chris, Colby, and Hart, who's here tonight, thank you for sharing your dad with so many other kids. You are my greatest joy and motivation. To my coaches at Prep, Coach Will Mraz and Coach Chris Smallkeis, thank you for your time, vision, and belief in all of us. You built a great program and left a lasting impression on me that continues to shape the way I coach today. To Hall of Fame Athletic Director Bob Harris, Thank you for your steady leadership of the Prep Athletic Department during those days when I was an athlete here. You brought together a remarkable group of coaches who impacted generations of athletes, including myself. To all my college coaches, Coach Mix, Coach Roy Simmons Jr., John Desco, Kevin Donahue, and Roy Simmons III, thank you for your extraordinary mentorship. I am so grateful for the opportunity to have learned from the very best. To my teammates at Prep and Syracuse, thank you. I can't name everyone or be here all night, but a few stand out. To the upperclassmen from Prep who welcomed me as a freshman, Tim Shanahan, Sean and Liam Sargent, Mike Fox, Scott Parent, Scott Barnard, Bill Coward, and Pete Shigori, thank you for your example and leadership. To my Prep lacrosse classmates, Chris Parent, Bruce Sotier, and Mike Tice, you are outstanding teammates and even better people. And of course, I need to thank my Syracuse defensemen. If I didn't do that, there would be a problem. Pat McCabe, Pete Linclip, Reggie Thorpe, Rick Beardsley, Pat Coogan, Chad Smith, Mike Whittick, and Mike Doyle, and Jeff Schuessler, you guys did the dirty work, and you made me look good every game. I owe you more than you can possibly imagine. Finally, thank you to the teachers and administrators at Prep who made those 4 years so impactful. People like Mr. Brennan, Mr. Hanrahan, Coach Rowe, Father Trinkle, and Father Allen helped shape the person I am today. Fairfield Prep is a remarkable school because its faculty and staff live out its mission every single day. I am deeply grateful for your dedication and your belief in me and all the students that have attended Fairfield Prep. May God continue to bless Fairfield Prep and all the people who make it the special place it is. Thank you so much for such a special honor. Have a great evening.
Our next inductee, Frank Rabati from the class of 1957. Teacher and coach, Mr. Tom Shea from the class of 1973 will tell us more about Frank Rabati. Let's listen now as Coach Shea honors Frank Rabati.
Frank Rabati, class of 1957.
The late Frank Rabati excelled in athletics even before his entrance in prep in the fall of 1953. A Stanford native, Rabati enjoyed playing football, basketball, and baseball, and was a fierce competitor in all three. His first taste of success came as an outfielder for his hometown team that won the 1951 Little League World Series. At Prep, Rabati was an all-district and all-state fullback and co-captain of the Jesuits' undefeated team of 1956 that went 8-0. He and fellow co-captain Joe Sikorsky hold the distinction of being the first two Prep players to be named to the New Haven Register All-State football team. He also attended a National High School All-American game in Memphis, Tennessee. It was most likely there that he caught the interest of the University of Tennessee, who recruited him and became one of his finalists, until one of the Prep Jesuits intervened and steered him to Boston College. At BC, he played both football and baseball. On the gridiron, he was a two-way player at linebacker and fullback. On offense, he gained 688 yards on 181 career carries and added 151 yards on 15 catches. The 6-foot, 220-pounder was then signed to a professional contract by the AFL's Boston Patriots in 1961 and started 7 of 12 games at linebacker in his only pro season, recording a pair of interceptions. In 1963, Frank went to training camp with the New York Titans, forerunner to the New York Jets, as a running back and a linebacker, and lasted 6 weeks before being cut. Rabati was tragically killed in an auto accident in 1971 at the age of 32. It was reported that there were 2 young girls in the car, this before the age of seatbelts, and that Frank threw himself across them, sacrificing his life to save theirs. That's the kind of man Frank Rabati was. Beloved by so many friends from Stanford and his Prep brothers, a trophy bearing his name was created and awarded to the most valuable player of the annual Thanksgiving Day game between Fairfield Prep and Stanford High, until that series ended after the 1977 season. It's still awarded today to the MVP of the Turkey Day game between intra-city rivals Stanford and West Hill. And there is also the Rabati Scholarship, awarded to an individual recommended by their coaches and athletic directors to student athletes who demonstrate the character, integrity, and determination of Frank Rabati. My name is Tom Shea, and it is my honor to present Frank Robati from the class of 1957 for enshrinement into the Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame.
Gentlemen, please welcome Frank's son, Michael Radcliffe, to the stage to accept this award on behalf of Frank. As we head now to the back nine this evening, it is fitting that we induct next a great prep golfer, Frank Dully, class of 1985, who will be introduced by his brother, Mr. Bill Dully, class of 1981. So now everyone, please turn your attention to the screen as we honor the career of Frank Dully, class of 1985.
Frank Dully, class of 1985. Frank Dully has made his mark on the game of golf almost from the minute he teed it up for Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame coach Roger Ratchford. The Bridgeport native was a four-year standout from 1981 to 1985, with the Jesuits winning Class L state championships in 1983 and 1985. Dully served as team captain in 1985, was a three-time All-MBAC performer from 1983 to 1985, made the CIAC Division I All-State team, and was named to the CSGA Junior Ryder Cup team, also in 1985. Dully played collegiately at Holy Cross, where he made the All-Districts New England team in 1988 and 1989. He also won the New England Division I NCAA title, as well as the Dartmouth Invitational in 1989, and was team captain of the Crusaders his senior year. After graduation, Dully turned pro and has been a standout club professional ever since. He won the 2006 New England PGA Championship with a record score of 14 under par. Dully is also the youngest player to be enshrined in the PGA of America New England Hall of Fame, inducted in 2023 at the age of 56. Dully and his brothers Bob, class of 1978, and Bill, class of 1981, have served as title sponsors of the Fairfield Prep Alumni Golf Tournament for the past 4 years.
Good evening. My name is Bill Dully, Fairfield Prep class of 81. I'm the middle son of Robert and Mary Dully. My brother Bob is class of 78, and my brother Frankie, who we're here to honor, is class of 86. Frankie had two things as the youngest son in the family. Frankie was very disciplined. Started playing golf at 4 years old. He started carrying his own bag by the time he was 10, and he would show up on the golf course in the classroom without being told. The other thing that Frankie was very quiet. Frankie didn't have to tell you what he was working on. He was the kind of guy and golfer that would go out and shoot par 3 and 4 nights in a row, win the championship, and then talk about how important his caddy was to finishing that round. Fairfield Prep runs deep in the Dully family's history. You know, one of the things that Prep taught you was not only to be a man for others, but instilled a very serious work ethic in everything that you did. And I think that was the platform for Frank, where he then went to Holy Cross and then on to a PGA of American national champion and into the New England PGA Hall of Fame. It started here at Fairfield Prep with those messages. It's quite an honor for my brother to be getting into the Fairfield Prep Hall of Fame, but he got there because of the players that he played with. They forced him to be better, and that team won many state championships. My strongest memory of Frank and his golf game in Fairfield Prep and Fairfield Prep Athletics was when he was a junior. I wasn't even aware of what a good golfer he was growing up, to tell you the truth. I golfed with him as a kid. He was beating me. I was 11 and he was 5, so I threw the clubs in the swamps in front of Katharine Hepburn's house at Fenwick, and he went on to continue golfing, and I didn't even realize how good he was. So I was at Fairfield University, and Frankie was in the Connecticut Amateur Open at 16 years old. He was a junior. In the final day, my brother was in a playoff at 16 years old against a 42-year-old professional golfer lost by a stroke, but that's when I first realized that Fairfield Prep was really shaping not just an athlete and a golfer, but a young man and a person that's going to make a difference in the world. I would describe my brother as someone that is dedicated to his family first. Him and his son won the Massachusetts father-son tournament, first time in PGA of America history a year ago. Second, he loves the game of golf. He's figured out a way to take not just the game, but the event and the people that he interacts with and build communities. He's done it in Massachusetts and he's done it down in Florida. Did it in South Africa when he played on the South African tour. And in 2008, he teed off with Tiger Woods in the Deutsche Bank Classic. It was quite a moment for the family, for him, and for Fairfield Prep. He was enshrined in the New England PGA of America Hall of Fame last year, and that record still stands the test of time. It is now my honor to present my brother, Frank Edward Dully II, into enshrinement to the Fairfield Prep Class of 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Frank Dully from the class of 1985.
Obviously, this is quite an honor. I want to thank the committee and the president of Fairfield Prep for this honor and being up here tonight. Fairfield Prep was where I first heard the term "a man for others." It was Father Levins asking us to write a reflection paper. What did we think it meant? The moment the pen hit the paper, I always strived to be a man for others. Throughout my career in golf, there were always players that were better than me. At Prep, there's PGA golf professionals at the table behind me that were better than me. Tommy Rosati, Dave Renzulli, Mike Martin, who's not here. I grew comfortable in my role as a strong contributor to the team. After all, I was being a man for others, watching, supporting, and encouraging any way I could for their successes. As my golf game physically got better, I improved, and I had chances to win, but I would always seem to come up short. I had amateur finishes of runner-ups in the Connecticut Amateur, the Francis We Met. I finished runner-up in the Mass Open, New Hampshire Open. I finished runner-up 5 times in the New England PGA Championship before I finally won it. I had the game, but something was missing. To me, I identified being a winner as somebody who was selfish, arrogant, alone, and other adjectives that I really can't say tonight. I struggled. How can you be a man for others and win? It didn't make sense to me until a seminal moment in my life that changed everything. I was playing in a Pro-Am at Kiowa with my father, my brother Bob, and my brother Bill, who are here tonight. I was playing great for the first 3 rounds. It was the National Club Pro Championship, so it was a big event, a lot of players from across the country. I was in that familiar position. I was in the lead with one round to go. At dinner, I was talking to my brother Bill about my past failures and how I hadn't been able to come up with the victory when I needed it. He said, "Frank, when you do realize when you win, we all win." I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean? When you win, we all win? So if I win, Mom and Dad win. Fairfield Prep wins. Holy Cross wins. Kernwood, where I've been head golf professional for 33 years, wins. Isn't that the definition of a man for others? I never made that connection at all. That the people and institutions in your life will share in the glory of winning. This is not selfish or arrogant. I can win and be a man for others. Armed with this new philosophy, I end up going on to winning more than I ever thought I could. It led to my election into the New England PGA Hall of Fame, and tonight I am blessed to stand here at Fairfield Prep and being inducted into the Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm thankful for my mom, who spent years driving me to tournaments up and down the East Coast. Thankful to my father, who said, keep your eye on the ball and slow on the backswing, which is a mantra I still use today. To my brothers and sisters, my wife Jennifer, daughter Megan, and Sean, who, by the way, will be playing in the Mass Open with me once again next week in 2 weeks. To my teammates who are here tonight and who pushed me to be better, because they were always better than me. To to Fairfield Prep, who taught me to question. To Holy Cross, who provided me with answers. To Kernwood Country Club, who taught me to serve for the last 33 years as their golf professional. To God, who always stands by me. Tonight, my election into the Fairfield Prep is a win shared by all of those who supported and sacrificed for me. I am humbled and grateful for this amazing honor. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Prep legend, rugby coach, Frank Decker. Mr. Coach Kevin Carey from the Prep class of 2000 and Austin Ryan class of 2006 will introduce Frank. So now on the screen, we honor rugby coach Frank Decker.
Frank Decker. Coach Frank Decker was the face of Fairfield Prep's rugby team from 1984 until his retirement in 2022, a total of 38 seasons. He helped transition the program from club to varsity status and along the way compiled over 400 victories, as well as coaching 6 Prep All-Americans. Under his leadership, the Jesuits appeared in 11 state championship games, won 5 New England championships, and made 2 appearances in the national championship tournament. Decker was a standout rugby player himself, competing for 10 seasons with the Essex RFC. He was a 4-time Met Union All-Star and a 3-time Eastern Rugby Union All-Star. He also played for the USA Eagles, a national team which represented the country in international play.
There's really nobody that you run into that doesn't know Frank Decker and doesn't understand what he's meant to this game and building this game in this state. And all from Bob Harris, our former athletic director, playing softball with Frank, and a bunch of kids wanted to start a rugby team, and they got to Colleen Keltos.
Yeah, Frank loves reminding everybody that Colleen Keltos was the first faculty moderator of rugby, and because of her signature and her support, rugby got started here in 81, right? Yeah, 81.
81.
Then
came on board in 83.
Yeah, he came on board in 83. I think that when you talk about Fairfield Prep as an institution, you have to include Frank Decker's name in it.
Certainly nobody's meant more to the rugby program. I mean, that's just common sense. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that means more to our athletic program than what Frank has done, taking kids to Argentina, to California, to Dallas, making connections with other Jesuit schools, fostering Jesuit tournaments, always looking to push our kids in every possible way, not only in the sport, but as young men.
Now you're talking about a program that, from an outsider's perspective who doesn't know the game, could be immediately intimidated by it. And here's Frank at the head of it all, assuring the parent that you're joining one of the best sports in the world, but also you're joining arguably the most tightly knit fraternity that Fairfield Prep has to offer. And we always hear those words, and a brotherhood, camaraderie, and rugby, I think, alone personifies that. But then when you talk about prep rugby and the relationships that Frank Decker would create and foster, it's really what drives kind of what prep's all about, what the mission's all about. And it's a huge reason why I still do it. And it's why, like, as an alum, right, it's so proud to see you keep doing it and doing it the way Frank would do it.
Hopefully we continue to build now into the 2020s, but so much of our foundation is about Frank.
If there's anything that Frank would be proud of or wants to see is that we're doing it. Wins and losses that's how we're judged, right? It's athletics. At the same time, it's about the experience.
I don't think that there's ever been anybody here who has coached or worked with the kids who has not had some sort of connection with prep rugby. That just kind of goes to show, like Frank's the origin point. He's the one who built this culture. He's the one that taught us what prep rugby means so that we can pass it on to the next generation.
My name is Austin Ryan, Fairfield Prep class of 2006.
My name is Kevin Carey, Fairfield Prep class of 2000. It is our honor to present for enshrinement our friend, coach, and mentor, Frank Decker, for the 2025 Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, Trumbull. No, wow. Firstly, I do want to let everyone know, too, that our rugby team just beat Trumbull in the semifinal. But on our side, unfortunately, Coach Decker fell ill this week and could not be here tonight. But we do have a brief video from 3 years ago when Coach Decker retired that the committee thought was fitting for this moment. So now we would like to take the time to share that with you all.
I need to thank all of you. This is an overwhelming tribute to the prep rugby programs. And it makes me extremely proud that you're all here and you have carried on the traditions and the thoughts of prep rugby as a family. And that's what we are, and that's what we've always tried to be. Prep rugby family. And you worked that way, you were taught that way, and every bit of your lifetime blood is rugby. It's weird, but it's true. You start as a freshman or a sophomore or whenever you start, and it gets in your blood, and you just can't shake it. It's always something that's important to you. Maybe not the most important thing, but it's an important thing to you. And that's what I hoped I would get to show you, because it did jump into my life at a very late stage, not like you guys get to start it early. So I want to thank all of you. This is a very, very special place to be right now. So thank you all. I hope you have a great time, and I'll see you next year.
Thank you for everything.
Our final inductee for this evening is former U.S. Olympic athlete Craig Kinsley, class of 2007. Former track coach Dave Driscoll will introduce Craig. So now let's hear his story as we honor the career of Craig Kinsley.
Craig Kinsley, class of 2007. Fairfield native Craig Kinsley got a break, literally, that turned his athletic fortunes around. Unable to play baseball for Fairfield Prep because of a fractured hand, he turned to track and field, and everything fell into place. He exceeded a fine career with the Jesuits with an even better one for Brown, and then trumped it all with a berth on the 2012 Olympics as a javelin thrower. At Prep, Kinsley ran hurdles and did the high jump, but later added the javelin after his hand had healed. He was named All-State in the decathlon, high jump, and javelin throw. Kinsley became a 4-time Ivy League champ and a 3-time All-American in javelin throw for Brown. He also won the 2010 NCAA title in the javelin. An injury prevented him from defending his title in 2011, but he wound up qualifying for the Olympics the following summer by excelling at the Olympic trials. He made it to the qualification round of the men's javelin, but although his toss of 78.18 meters was the longest by any American, he did not advance to the next round. Kinsley was named the head women's track coach at Brown in 2023.
Craig was probably the most gifted athlete I ever coached. He was endowed with speed, agility, and coordination, and that made my job as coach of the field events easy. He broke the school records in the hurdles, high jump, decathlon, and javelin. But most importantly, Craig was self-motivated, an artist and a perfectionist. In a track meet, the athlete in the field events is looking to demonstrate mastery of his art and achieve a personal best. He is not simply trying to win. Body and mind have to perform as one. That's what an artist does. That was what Craig was able to do. Craig learned everything he could about the events he entered. He practiced religiously and did drills to make sure his body was getting into the right position to explode. I would very often come to practice and find him doing an amazingly good drill for the high jump or hurdles that he found in a book, online, or learned from a competitor. And he would be teaching it flawlessly to underclassmen. He was a real student of each event, a perfectionist. But in a meet, he was able to forget all of the study and preparation, let go of any thought of extra effort and control, and let the body and mind perform the art. He knew when to be a perfectionist and when to be an artist. It's hard to find that in a high school athlete. Now, he had done the hurdles in the indoor season, but nothing in the outdoor season. So when he came out, he said, "Is there any other event I could try?" I said, "Try the javelin." He told me he played center field and probably had an overhand motion. So from there, the first time he threw 100 feet. In a week, he was up to 125. In 2 weeks, he was up to 145. By the time we got to the end of the year, he was up to 187 feet. The only thing Craig lacked in high school was strength, and scientific weightlifting makes that easy to acquire with a little guidance. He started lifting in high school, but the guidance for the increase in strength and for important adjustments to his form that were necessary for him to succeed in college on the national level and eventually to succeed in making the Olympic team would come later at Brown University. Fairfield Prep was a nurturing environment for Craig. It certainly contributed to enhancing the studious qualities he showed in learning the field events and to his desire for excellence in everything he did. Prep's environment also contributed to his desire to become a man for others. He was constantly helping underclassmen and showing interest in their progress. He was loved and respected by everyone on the track team, both athletes and coaches. He often told me he wanted Prep to have the best track and field team in the state. He was proud of the Prep track team and of the school. After his participation in the Olympics, Craig has returned to Prep and Prep-sponsored events a number of times to give inspirational talks. My name is David Driscoll, Craig's coach, teacher, and friend, and it is my honor to present Craig Kinsley, class of 2007, for enshrinement into the Fairfield Prep Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Craig Kinsley, class of 2007.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you, Dave. That was awesome. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the great people at Fairfield Prep who have helped me and supported me along the way. I'd like to thank Kathy for all the legwork on this event. It's been a lot of fun so far. And I want to thank my wife, Kat, for being more competitive than myself and for supporting me in all athletic endeavors. I want to thank my parents for teaching me how to be a great parent to our 3-year-old son by never expecting more from me than my best. which is great parenting, in case you were wondering. Thank you to my dad for being a track fan on essentially day one after an abrupt change from baseball and basketball. He'd coached me for many years, and within a month he had spreadsheets on all the kids in the state of Connecticut and their decathlon potential, and so not for pressure, just in excitement, you know. So I really appreciate that. With that kind of support, it's hard not to go far. I want to thank my cousins and my aunts and uncles for making it a normal thing in the Kinsley family to tenaciously pursue athletic success. I want to thank Coach Ford for instilling in me a love of science and making me believe that I could be a science major in college, which I went on to do. Never would have imagined that, and I appreciate that. And a normal lesson in Coach Ford's physics class at the time would have been, okay, so Kinsley is standing on top of a 100-meter tall cliff, and he throws a squirrel at 30 meters per second at 45 degrees, and remember, we're in a vacuum here. How far does the squirrel travel? And so again, it's hard not to like science when that's what your physics teacher is teaching you. Thank you to Ford Sr. for being an incredible source of positive energy through my time with Brown Track, and for one of the best lessons that I learned in track and field and also in life. I remember it was decathlon day one, and I was very new to track and field, and I'd been leaning on Dave for essentially all of my coaching. But going into the 400, I talked to Ford Sr., and I said, do I pace myself? Am I trying to save some energy for day two? We have 5 more events the next day. And he says, listen, Craig, this is what you're going to do. You're going to run until you die. And, and he said, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do it all over again. And that was great advice. And a final thank you to Dave for being the best possible coach that I could have had. And you know, after some years of coaching in team sports, where not that track isn't a team sport, but where politics are a little bit more part of the game, it was a real breath of fresh air to come to Dave. And while we had differing levels of commitment across the team, Dave had the best possible approach to track and field coaching that I've ever come around. And his idea was, I will put as much energy into you in your athletic development as you're willing to put into yourself. And I was willing to put in a lot of energy. And so Dave started pouring himself into coaching, and not only at the track, but oftentimes at in between classes, because I was in his class before he was my teacher, before he was my coach. In between classes, during free periods, we'd look over textbooks that he had in his office, and he would be teaching the finer techniques of all the field events. And Dave coached me in the javelin, the high jump, the hurdles, the pole vault, the long jump, the shot, the discus, the decathlon, sports psychology, and certainly the art of sarcasm and dry humor. I was a student of the sport and ready to learn everything I could from him. And I was very, very lucky to have a true professor of the sport in Dave. And thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Congratulations to this incredible class of 2025. Inductees and families, if you want to come up on stage and take some family photos, please feel free to do so. Also, thank you to everyone for sharing this special event. We all hope you enjoyed yourself. Please feel free to continue to celebrate. Have a great night. Be safe, and Hail Prep.
Hail Prep.
Well,